College more affordable, but could end up costing more than a student loan. The drawbacks of this new plan on Local 12 News next.
Top stories and weather before the first commercial. This is Local 12 News at 11.
Tonight, we know who was murdered today in Roselawn. Someone killed Casey Jones in Roselawn Park. That's right next to the Reds Youth Academy. Investigators say 4 people got away in a black Nissan. Investigators also towed away another black car, but are not saying its involvement.
Firefighters make quick work of a fire in Avondale. Someone left food on a stove at the complex on Rockdale, and that caught fire, sending smoke billowing out of the 3rd floor. Everyone's okay, but there is damage in the kitchen and a bedroom. The Red Cross is taking care of an adult and child.
The SAT won't be adding a 4th score after all. The adversity score would have taken into account where a student lives, things like crime rate, poverty, and quality of the school. Now, the idea came about because schools say test scores alone cannot predict college success. But boiling that down to a single number was apparently problematic. Instead, schools will be given a tool that gives information about where the student grew up so that they can do their own analysis.
And with that story, we say good evening to you. And it brings us to Xavier, which is doing away with the SAT altogether.
Yeah, the school says you won't need to include your SAT or ACT score when you apply. Walter Smith Randolph spent the night on Xavier's campus getting student reaction.
At Xavier University, Musketeers are applauding the news of no more SATs or ACTs.
I think it's smart, actually. It's a growing trend. I know a lot of the top colleges have been doing it recently.
Inside Higher Ed and Fairtest.org estimate a new school making the same announcement every 10 days. Bucknell, Creighton, DePaul, and the University of San Francisco are just some of the schools that went SAT optional this year. Some Xavier students say the move speaks to the university's mission.
One of the missions of Xavier is called Cura Personalis, which is a Jesuit phrase, as we are a Jesuit university, that means care for the whole person, which, taking away that kind of barrier, I think allows them to showcase more of the whole aspect of themselves.
I feel like a lot of colleges discredited me just because of my standardized testing, which maybe I'm not as strong in as I am in the other things. And I think that if more colleges kind of looked past those, they could get amazing students.
Most of the students we talk to here on campus say they applaud the move, but there are a few students who say they're worried that Xavier will now become a less competitive school.
I think it kind of just impedes the process. I think it's a necessary thing for everybody to go through. I mean, you can fake an essay, you can have people write it for you. Just having test scores is a very vital part of the college application process.
It's nice, but it really takes away from the competitiveness of the school. So the test scores, I think you should keep them.
Administrators say the tests will still be considered if students choose to include them, but the new policy says you can demonstrate your abilities in other ways.
Having the option works because a lot of people like myself did well in the SAT, so it looks good. But if that's not something you're strong with, then you can prioritize your classes and your grades.
At Xavier University, Walter Smith Randolph, Local 12 News.
Walter, thank you. Something not going away, at least not yet, college tuition. There's a new proposal to help cover costs if student loans frighten you. But there are drawbacks to what's known as income sharing. We've got some details coming up in about 10 minutes.
A van full of children was leaving the Dayton library when a stolen police cruiser going 97 miles an hour crashed into them. That moment changed lives forever. 2 of those children, Penelope Jasko and Eleanor McBride, both 6 years old, are dead. It turns out that was the second car that Raymond Walters Jr. stole. The first was his father's.
His father had him in the vehicle with him and was intending to take him to the hospital for some mental health treatment. When his son found out where he was heading, that's when he, I think, threatened to kill his father, pulled out a edged weapon, short bladed edged weapon, and began to assault him multiple times.
Police say after stabbing his father, he took his car and crashed it and then stole the police cruiser. 3 minutes later, he slammed into the van. Walters has a lengthy criminal record. He was just released from prison this month.
A local school district says the Ark Encounter isn't paying its fair share of taxes. Grant County School Board is suing the religious theme park and the county's property value administrator over the assessed value of the Williamstown property. The PVA says it's worth $48 million. The school says it's worth about 3 times that. And it claims the alleged undervaluing means that the school is losing out on an extra $470,000 in property taxes. The Ark says it is paying what is required by law. 2 jail employees are at the Carroll County Jail tonight, but they're not working. They're inmates. Investigators say Robert McDole and Yogi Perkins were being paid to sneak in contraband for inmates. Troopers say family members would leave the items in the parking lot. Court documents show that included packages and cigarettes.
Well, earlier tonight we had some rain. Are they still around, John?
No.
Okay,
they are not,
good.
Cammie. The
Nice.
rain is gone. We have a cold front coming through now.
Okay.
And that's going to mean a dramatic change to the weather you're going to feel around here by tomorrow. Take a look at Precision Doppler 12 HD. Last of the rain has pushed out of the tri-state tonight. The last remaining showers there in Robertson and Mason County, they are now gone. And for a lot of us, the clouds are already pushing out too. Mainly clear skies in a lot of spots. In fact, at the airport, completely clear now. 70 with a west wind at 5. So the cold front has come through. That dew point reading is starting to fall, and that'll be key to how it feels around here, because as we take you into the overnight and tomorrow morning, humidity is going to drop. We may start out with some fog in the morning, low 60s as we get going, and then by 11 o'clock, we're up to 73 degrees. Lots of sunshine in the forecast for your Wednesday, so it's a big change from what we have seen. And as that cold front passes, high pressure is going to move in, and we have a nice stretch of weather coming up. But by Labor Day weekend, yet another front moves in, and that brings more changes to our weather. We'll step you through all of that coming up in about 9 minutes. Adam, Cammie.
All right, John, thank you. Cincinnati is getting national recognition tonight as the place to be for minority entrepreneurs.
And we want to know just how true that really is. And Local 12's Brad Underwood found the catalyst for all that growth.
For minority small business owners in Cincinnati, business is good.
This whole neighborhood, this whole street is minority-owned businesses.
Keith Tabron owns The Cure, a street fashion consignment store in Walnut Hills. He says he went out on a limb opening the shop, but today he knows he made the right decision.
Our first year, we did over $1 million in sales. This year, on pace to do 2. So expansion.
Tabron is just one success story. Cincinnati's minority entrepreneurs are getting national attention thanks to Essence magazine. It says Cincinnati is the fastest growing economic power in the Midwest and a destination for minority entrepreneurship.
We recognize the hard work that we're doing, but to have someone nationally recognize that work is incredible.
A big part of the growing success is thanks to the work of Alan Woods at Mortar and Candace Matthews-Brackeen of Hillman Accelerator.
If you go back to the beginning, this wasn't always an easy thing to do.
Hillman Accelerator works with tech companies. Mortar helps lifestyle companies, providing training and spaces to sell products.
We are not the end-all be-all, but we are only a step in this path, and everything that we're doing today is going to create the blueprint for what the next generation does, and that's exciting for me.
For Tabron, he says the work around the city isn't slowing down because he believes the community won't let each other fail.
The culture down here just kind of like backs us up. You know what I mean? Like, we tend to stick together more than like other cities that I've seen, and it's just, I think it's just people want to be successful here.
Brad Underwood, Local 12 News.
And UC's also helping out. The university recently opened the 1819 Innovation Hub, a space for entrepreneurs to help bridge academic research and business communities.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to need to do your chicken sandwich business somewhere other than Popeyes, at least for a little bit. Company says its wildly popular chicken sandwich will be sold out by the end of the week. It debuted just 2 weeks ago. Popeyes says it's working with its suppliers to bring it all back as soon as possible. I guess this would count as a point for Chick-fil-A, who you might recall says that, well, they don't run out of chicken, as any good chicken shop should probably, have chicken in stock.
I just wonder how much of this is really all about the promotion. I mean, I don't mean to be negative and throw any shade,
wild.
but
It's something that just has gone viral.
It's crazy.
And it's out of nowhere. Unreal. I still haven't had one yet.
I haven't either.
We'll get ours.
All right.
All right, up next at 11, head coach Doug Ramsey mic'd up for part 2 of our all-access pass to Elder football.
And why a man spent months in jail over honey. This is a symbol not just of pride, but also of hard-fought gains for civil rights and equality.
And a Northside man is displaying that flag proudly, but also defiantly, because it violates his lease.
Tessa DiTiro is in Northside tonight, where the debate rages over who's right, the man with the flag or the landlord. Hi, Tessa.
Hi, Cammie. Well, there's a flag flying at the apartment complex behind me. It's Brian Sturgill's flag, and it's been flying since June. But today, it became an issue. Brian Sturgill is not planning on taking down his pride flag anytime soon.
It was emailed to us that all flags needed to be taken down. I replied asking, which flag, because we only have the one. And then they referenced that it was in reference to the pride flag hanging out of our balcony. Tenants
got another email tonight. An explanation from the property manager, who says other residents were asked to take down flags. When the pride flag was still flying, people asked why one flag could fly and others couldn't.
Living in a place like Northside, it's so diverse and it's so welcoming to all walks of life. So, that's the kind of message you expect.
This part of the lease agreement explains flags are not allowed in order to keep up curb appeal.
I guess if it's in the lease, it's in the lease, but I think we can all agree that what's a couple flags hanging from a couple of balconies? Is it the end of the world for anyone? No.
Various local businesses are sending Sturgill their support. Nick Bellman owns Higher Gravity. The bar and bottle shop is also a tenant at Gantry.
If they're going to enforce the lease, I told the guy, dude, we'll hang the flag in here. They can't tell me what to hang inside my building. They can tell me what to hang outside, but I'll gladly hang it up in here if it comes down to that.
Complex owner PLK Community sent this statement. They say the issue has nothing to do with what the flag symbolizes.
My next step of action is no step of action. The flag is staying.
Sturgill says his complex has not told him if there will be any repercussions for him continuing to fly his flag. In Northside, Tessa DiTiro, Local 12 News.
All right, Tessa, thank you. Well, on the heels of a $500 million ruling against Johnson & Johnson, the maker of OxyContin is offering a massive settlement. Purdue Pharma wants to settle all 2,000 lawsuits at once and is offering up to $12 billion to do so. Now, many of the cases are set to be heard before a federal judge in Cleveland in October. The company, which makes OxyContin, is accused of starting the nation's opioid crisis. The potential deal would mean the company files for bankruptcy. All right, these are jars of honey, not meth, like U.S. Customs agents thought. Leon Houghton spent 3 months in jail while they figured that out. Houghton was coming back from Jamaica. He always goes back in December to visit his mother, and this time he brought some honey back with him. Customs agents in Baltimore say it tested positive for meth, so he went to jail for 82 days.
The kids then stressed out, my mom, everybody, then they put me to hell. Even come out, even all of my insurance collapse, my credit mash up, lose my job, everything. It just left me in a mess.
Wow. Now, it only took 20 days for a second test to show that the honey was not, in fact, meth. But then there were more problems. Houghton is a green card holder, and since he was charged with a drug crime, he was put on federal detention. This all happened during the government shutdown, so no one could actually lift his hold. When he finally got out, he lost both of his jobs. All of this because he brought honey back from the island. The state's attorney's office says no agencies made any mistakes.
Well, it turns out the best way to treat a peanut allergy may be more peanuts. A new treatment done by doctors in Columbus involves increasing a person's exposure to peanuts over time. It begins with peanut powder, heavily diluted with water. 6-year-old Sabin Baum has had a severe allergy since he was a baby. Now he is eating 8 peanuts a day.
Being able to eat that amount of peanut daily, that affords the protection to, if you were to accidentally ingest peanut, not to not have a reaction or to have less of a reaction.
And he can sit anywhere in the lunchroom he wants.
Now, the first visit can take hours, and there are side effects like hives or nausea until your body reacts. But Sabin's mom says it is all worth it. Well, it's no secret that student loan debt is a serious problem for millions of Americans. Now politicians and colleges say they have a solution. But as Allworth Financial's Amy Wagner explains in tonight's Simply Money, something called income sharing comes with its own big costs.
Student loan debt is forecast to hit the $2 trillion mark by 2022. But a new alternative to traditional student loans comes with some big potential pitfalls, too. This new option involves something called income sharing agreements. Under the agreements, students would give up a chunk of future income in exchange for covering college costs. Unlike a traditional student loan, borrowers wouldn't pay anything until they land a job after graduation, but they then have to pay a set percentage of income for a certain number of years. A handful of colleges already offer this sort of financing, including Purdue University and UC Davis. But consumer advocates say that because these arrangements aren't technically loans, they aren't regulated in the same way. And that means providers can charge interest rates that are higher than many states allow. And they say income sharing costs more than student loans in many cases. In a typical income sharing contract, a student who gets $30,000 for school would pay 12% of their income for 10 years. Assuming a starting salary of $50,000 and a 2% raise yearly, they'd end up paying $65,700 all told. Do the math, and that's an 18.4% interest rate, much higher than the 5% you'd get on a federal loan, which is why we always advise students take full advantage of federal student loans before they consider private financing. For Local 12 in Allworth, I'm Amy Wagner.
The impact of Tropical Storm Dorian being felt in the Caribbean tonight. This video is from the French island of Martinique. A main road looks more like a river. And now the storm is headed toward Puerto Rico, which is still reeling from Hurricane Maria 2 years ago. 30,000 homes are still covered with blue tarps, and 1,000 roads on the island remain impassable. Some people are hunkering down, but others are getting out.
I'm so insecure here with the power, the food, the security. So I'm leaving.
Wow, you feel so bad for those folks. And the probability of Dorian making landfall as a hurricane right now, pretty low.
Yeah, but Puerto Rico still likely to be battered by rain. Meteorologist John Gum is tracking that storm for us. John?
Yeah, heavy rain is going to be the main threat for at least Puerto Rico. And as this thing comes very close to Puerto Rico, if not making landfall in Puerto Rico tomorrow, it will likely do so as a tropical storm. The good news tonight is that it hasn't gained any strength at all. 50-mile-an-hour winds, movement to the northwest at 13. Tropical storm warnings are up for Puerto Rico, and this is expected to move pretty much right over the island as we go through tomorrow, bringing extremely heavy rains. In fact, by tomorrow afternoon, it should be approaching the far eastern tip of Puerto Rico, moving right across the island, and then it reemerges north of the Bahamas as we go through the rest of the week here. So by Friday, it's moving out here north of the Bahamas, and folks in Florida are going to have to pay particular attention to this storm. There is a chance that it could regain some strength as it makes its way toward Florida going into the upcoming weekend. And the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center calls for it to become a Category 1 hurricane by the time it reaches Florida, perhaps with 80-mile-an-hour winds going into Sunday. And basically, in the cone of uncertainty, it runs all the way from South Florida, south of Miami, clear on up to Savannah, Georgia. So those are the areas that may be impacted by what could become Hurricane Dorian going into the upcoming weekend. Back here at home today, we had some rain, quite a bit, move across Missy in Petersburg. Snap that picture for us. Local12.com/chime in, the place to send your weather pictures and get them to us. Tonight, the picture on the radar is quiet. The last of the showers have moved off to the east of Cincinnati, and by morning, we're mainly clear. Low 60s, but watch for patchy fog on the morning drive. It may be thick in some areas. Cold front moves through tonight. Less humid air arrives tomorrow with temperature readings topping out in the upper 70s tomorrow afternoon. Lots of sun and low humidity. A good looking day tomorrow, and then high pressure is with us not only tomorrow but right on into Thursday. That keeps humidity levels low and keeps the weather dry and sunny around here. So on Thursday, we actually do get a little warmer, 50s in the morning, but up to 82 with sunshine in the afternoon. The Bengals are playing Thursday evening. So are the Bearcats playing UCLA. Tailgaters will see temperatures in the low 80s, eventually falling into the mid 70s by the time they wrap that one up, and humidity remains low. Tonight, we're up in the miserable category with those dew points. We'll be in the pleasant category going through tomorrow and Thursday. But once again, Friday, Saturday, humidity begins to come back up ahead of this next cold front that comes and pays us a visit starting Friday. That brings some slight rain chances into the forecast on Friday, even into Saturday. A slim chance for rain as this frontal system kind of hangs out over the tri-state. And as we get into Sunday, a little better chance for some showers and storms will be with us. But most of the upcoming holiday weekend is looking dry. Of course, the Weather Authority app, the place to check out that latest 7-day forecast. 79 sunshine tomorrow, low 80s on Thursday, and then Friday we're in the mid 80s. A slight chance of a shower Friday as clouds increase, and a slight chance there Saturday too. But the chance is a little better for a few hit or miss showers and storms Sunday. The good news is it looks like we cleared that rain out in time for the fireworks, with just small rain chances sticking around for Labor Day. Stay with us. We'll have sports right after the break.
Sponsored by Joseph Chevrolet.
As the Reds hook up with the Marlins for 4 nights in Florida, Eugenio Suarez is right at home. He lives in Miami in the offseason, and his family is up from Venezuela to take in this series. Last night, the team home run leader hit one for his wife. Not sure if he promised her another one, but Gino was at it again, showing off for the family by homering in his 3rd straight game. The shot set a Reds record, his 13th first-inning home run, 37th overall, an immediate 2-0 lead. The Marlins will take a 3-2 lead, but Kurt Casale, just back from the IL, got it back with a tying blast in the 4th. Still 3-3 in the 5th, 2 on, 2 outs. The Marlins didn't want Caleb Smith to face Casale again. They brought in Tyler Kinley, and the catcher collected a couple of more RBIs en route to the 8-5 win. The Reds are now 5-0 against Florida. Nick Senzel also home, and that's a half a dozen in the first half of this 4-game series. Next, fired up for football openers. Thursday at UC, and once again, we bring you all access at Elder, number 1 in our local 12, top 12. Friday, and to get you revved up, Jed DeMusi provides you with a personal backstage pass as if you were an Elder VIP. In part 2, Doug Ramsey's Panthers step it up a notch. Here's Jed.
Elder's first scrimmage of the year is against Walnut Hills. The team head coach Doug Ramsey knows pretty well.
They didn't score very much early. Well, the back missed the first 4 or 5 games, and 4 of their linemen were sophomores. So he said at the end of the year, because like in week 9, they beat Anderson.
This is Elder's first chance to hit somebody else this season and see what's carried over from an 8-5 campaign.
Now's the time to start. Now's the time to start. You guys touch your team. Everybody stay healthy here. Hail Mary. All right, Sam, that's it. All right, here we go, defense. Let's go now. Come on, D, let's go. Let's roll with it now. Use that momentum. Let's go here. What a whistle. Galen. Let's go. You want their coaches to hurry up? Let's go. Who the hell is that? Why is he so wide?
When you're preparing for a daunting schedule, the coaching never stops, even when the results look good.
Dan? I want to see it, but I know when they blitzed that second time that, hey, did you see that now? That you were a little late on that touchdown right there, right? Because they switched. You had to see that. Good Carter! Attaboy, Coop! Did you see the 2-eye come across the center's face?
No, I saw a giant here in front of me.
I love the way you run, man. You don't know what you're doing.
I'm just running the daylight, baby.
Elder's 2019 campaign begins Friday at Gahanna Lincoln, when the time for observation will be over and the work towards redemption begins.
Now, wait a minute. You guys get lined up real quick again.
Yeah, thanks. It's our first local 12, top 12, and it's out on our website. The Panthers start out in that coveted top spot. Check out the entire preseason poll. And Skinny and Tony Pike have their first Angry Quarterbacks podcast of the season. It's up on the site right now, too. When college football kicked off over the weekend with a sloppy win by Florida over Miami, they called it Week 0. For Week 1, it starts the same as last year for UC, only this time UCLA is in Nippert Stadium, under the lights. But once again, no preseason, no joint scrimmages, just let it rip.
There's more anxiety, I think, in Week 1 than there is in any week. I know for me. You know, I mean, I didn't sleep last night. You know, I probably won't sleep again tonight, just because the anxiety of that Week 1 of just rolling that thing out there and getting started is so big.
Vic, it's only Tuesday. Get some rest. Kicking off at the very same time on Thursday, the Bengals preseason finale hosting the Colts. Catch all the action at 7 on your home of the Bengals, Local 12. And while most of her peers in Madeira are still adjusting to school starting up again, Katie McNally gets a life lesson tomorrow night. The 17-year-old faces idol Serena Williams on center court at the U.S. Open with Cincinnati in her corner.